in Judaism, when anything happens that that something needs to be cleansed and rededicated, it is cleansed in water. So you'll read throughout the Old Testament, you'll hear, and when this happens, and you shall cleanse yourself in water, and oftentimes stay outside the camp for 7 days, or put it aside for 7 days, and then cleanse it in water, and it shall be clean. And so the mikvah is part of this, where each of us goes through periods in our life where we are considered unclean. The big ones in the Old Testament, if you look, are contact with blood, contact with death, contact with infectious disease. Infectious disease is translated as leprosy throughout the Old Testament, and they didn't really have the same medical distinctions that we have today, but what it meant was infectious disease. If you look at the description, they're always talking about if it spreads, then it's a leprosy. If it doesn't spread and it just sits there, then it was just a blemish. It's not a problem. Okay?
So COVID in the time of the Bible would be a leprosy.
Correct. Anything that spreads is a leprosy. It's an infectious disease. And so you had to go through your period of isolation, just like we do with COVID. You had to go through your period of cleansing, which we don't quite do with COVID. And the cleansing was very important. Now, cleanse yourself in water. And the blessing I will read for you, the traditional blessing, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'tevilah b'mayim hayim. I went to do the standard blessing for many of the commandments. Baruch atah Adonai is praise to you. And Adonai is the divine power of the universe. Eloheinu melech haolam is the supreme ruler of everything. Asher kidshanu, who commands us, b'tevilah, regarding the cleansing, b'mayim, in waters, hayim, that are living. So this one is really about the cleansing in water, in living water. And it's very important that it has to be living water. The water has to be moving and it has to be living. You're not supposed to have tank or reservoir water that has been set stagnant. You can have a pond with a running flow from it, but you can't have tap water. The ancients considered it living. So if you found a spring bubbling up from the ground, that water was moving and it was living. So traditionally, a mikvah would be placed next to a stream or a river or a spring.
Mm-hmm.
And remember what the things that I said, why would you go to a mikvah? You've had contact with blood, death, or infectious disease. And in some cases, there was some discussion of certain sins that you might have committed. In general, women with the monthly cycle will be in contact with blood every month. And therefore, women would go to the mikvah every month. Men would go to the mikvah when you went to a funeral, when you served tahara duty, the preparing of a body for funeral. You might go to a mikvah when you have been slaughtering animals for the table. There's blood and death there.
Mm-hmm.
You would go to the mikvah anytime you had an illness as part of your recovery process. When you felt better, you would go to the mikvah and wash yourself. In fact, you can go to the mikvah in the wilderness on your own. Any moving water is a mikvah.
Mm-hmm.
And I have done mikvah in the wilderness. A proper mikvah should be done with nothing between you and the water. There should be no clothing, no jewelry, no makeup, no artificial nails, nothing. Just you in direct contact with the living water, being cleansed in your simplicity as the divine has made you.